Good morning. I'm sat in the kitchen. I've just had a little bit of breakfast. Today I'm finalising the plans for what we are now calling the SNUG. We finally made a decision on what we are turning our lodger's room. We keep calling it, which is like we have to change, but the name of the person that was staying in there last, so we'll call it like so-and-so's room. Which needs to change obviously because they're no longer here, and that's just going to be really weird if we name our room after them. Anyway, it's now going to be the SNUG. We've had a really exciting delivery, which you'll have seen a sneak peek of on my Instagram if you're following me over there. So I'm just doing a little plan now on, so many of you ask, I do all of my like floor plans on a site called floorplanner.com. So you can put in the dimensions of the space, I'll show you in a second, and then you can put in products also to kind of like try and see the size. I find this really good. To be honest, it does make it easier when ordering things. So for example, like the rugs that I bought the other day, it makes me kind of like know what the best size for the room will be. Let me show you, because I think if you visualize it, it'll be easier. So this is the room at the back there. Hang on, let me move this rug out of the way so you can see a little bit better. So we put in the exact dimensions, so exactly where the door is, the window and the back door there. The only thing I don't have is a little window in here, but I didn't need that because I could kind of tell where the sofa bed could fit into the space. And what you're able to do, so over here you can actually draw like the walls and different bits like that. But then also you can add in here different bits of furniture, so living room furniture, and they have just like an abundance of stuff. It just gives an idea, so I just pick a sofa the ish size, and then you can also go in and resize most of them, look at similar items. So this one, for example, I've done the exact size for the sofa bed that we are getting, if you see here in settings, so I've just popped in the sizes there. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Ooh, if I come out of that. And then I've just been deciding on the rug size, because you guys know I ordered 2 rug sizes. So this is the smaller size, which I just think is far too small. And then I can also pop in this one. I think this one will work better. It's definitely a little bit tighter for the space, but I think actually having a bigger rug will make the space look bigger. So the plan is, lovely big sofa bed here, which will take up, to be honest, the majority of the room. One thing I've learned whilst living here and working from home is that I love a sofa. Ollie and I joke that we need to have like a sofa or a seat in every single room, because sometimes you just like want to be chatting to somebody and you're there like, I don't want to just be stood here or sat on an uncomfortable chair. So you may see a lot of comfortable seating in our house. And it will also double as the sofa bed, so guests can stay there. I was going to think of a circular coffee table, but I actually think I might pull the one from the living room and change the one in the living room. I haven't quite decided on that yet. And then another thing that I haven't decided on is whether I pop a desk in here. This is actually a pretty good sized desk and chair, but I could pop that in there if I wanted. It's where we originally had a desk. You look out this window and it's got lovely greenery. And then the other thing you can do on this site is you can go to 3D and you can kind of actually visualize the space a bit more, so you can see the sunlight coming in the window there. And if I come down here, you can move it around. So this is what we use for the master bedroom. You can kind of just like visualize the space a bit better. The other thing that we want to do, if I spin you around this way, is make some storage in the room. So we're thinking of doing an IKEA Billy bookcase hack. Now, hilariously, when we moved in, I don't know if any of you will remember, and I'm not actually sure whether we got footage, because that was one of the first rooms that we started renovating because we were desperate to get somebody in to lodge it out. And actually I'm going to be answering your lodger questions in a second. I'll do that next. But Ollie's dad came in and helped us and he ripped that unit out. But there was actually like a bookcase there originally, and I just kind of think that's hilarious that we're putting one back in there now. I don't know, it does just suit the room. I tried a lot of different layouts, and like I tried some different layouts to like maybe watch a TV in the room, but I think we're going to prioritize guests staying and also just being able to like look out and see the garden. So actually on floorplanner.com, these are the Billy bookcases. Like they actually have them. They're called bookcases with glass doors, Billy, beige, and they're the exact same height. They've got the height of the ceiling, so I can kind of like visualize how big they're going to be in the space. However, we are going to be doing them, when I say like built in a bit, don't want to move them around too much. We're going to be doing a skirting board at the bottom, probably some like trim down the sides so that they look like more expensive bookcases. Generally, that is what we're going for in this room. Is this a really weird angle? I'm not quite sure. I just dropped my laptop on my arm getting in here basically. Hopefully it's not too echoey, but I kind of wanted to be in the room to talk about it. I don't know why, I'm a bit weird. Anyway, so that's the layout. Now I want to show you the actual mood board. So the colours, the style. Basically, my hope for this room was for it to be cozy and warm, but not too dark. So I wanted to achieve a room because it's at the back of the house and it's obviously got the garden. It's going to be like a gorgeous room in the summer. So I didn't want it to be too kind of like overwhelming with the like dark cozy factors. And I also want to kind of like bring the outside in, hence the gorgeous green colour. We've also got the green coming over on that window from a climber that I love. I'm going to show you that now. This is just one of my favourite views. It needs a little bit of neating up, but it goes so well with the green. So that's kind of what I've based this whole room around. So the green sofa, and I've taken elements from that room. As I've said before, when I'm kind of looking at a room and the pieces that I want to go in it, I always focus on one item. So with that item in the green sofa, I really wanted a rug that had a slightly dark element to it. As you can see, these like darker colours to pick up the sofa. And then the same for the cushions. I wanted something that went, but I also wanted something that still kept the sofa bright. And then I thought botanicals on the wall would just be absolutely perfect for this kind of garden room. Along with like lots of woods and textures. I want it to feel like really natural with textures, but also that kind of like fine line between light and airy and bright, but cozy. So for example, that's why I think I'm going to go for these lampshades. The pleated ones just give such a cozy factor, and then so do all of the textures on the cushions and the darker wood tones. I am so excited about this room because, to be honest, I think I'm going to spend the majority of my time here. I just love being in this room. There's something about it. It gets really gorgeous light because it's got that window on that side. You've obviously got the garden. It's quite nice now downstairs from the bathroom, the kitchen next door. It's just really convenient. But I thought I would now chat through some of your questions about the lodger. I think hopefully this will be helpful for some of you. I know some of you are interested in knowing how the process works to think about doing it yourself, and some of you just want to know why the hell we did it. I've just shut the door, so hopefully it won't be so echoey, and I've been through all of the questions and popped them onto my laptop so that I don't go over them, because a lot of them are kind of like similar, and I want to try and hopefully go into depth, tell you a bit about everything, what we were actually paid, how it was done, so on and so forth, and kind of like hopefully go through in a bit of a process. So starting with, what made you decide to have one? So many of you will know we purchased this house with not a penny to spare. And I think probably it was because we were a little bit naive when purchasing, and also impatient because we really wanted to get the house renovated. And to be honest, without having a lodger, there was absolutely no way that we were going to get the work done that we needed to be able to, number one, live in it comfortably, and to also kind of like semi-enjoy the process. So it was weighing up waiting a very long time to be able to do anything on the house, or having a little bit of a sacrifice. And we went with the sacrifice. Now then, this kind of leads into, I'm gonna wait, there is a lot more to that, but that is why we decided, basically, we needed some money for the renovations and we didn't have any in a pot. And obviously when you're working, you can very like slowly build up savings, but there's just generally other things that you need to spend on. So having that extra income come in, we knew we would be able to get things done. We actually did like a timetable and we knew with the income how much quicker we would be able to get things done. And we were like, yep, that's appealing. So next up, how did we find one? What was the process? Did you get references, showings, interview, so on and so forth? So we used Spare Room. I'll link the website below, and we listed our room. So we listed it as a double bedroom with private ensuite. And we put up our little ad, and then obviously we got people messaging us with interest. From that, we quite quickly could kind of decide who we wanted. For us personally, we really wanted somebody who had a secure job and lots of other factors like that. So from there, we did a little shortlist. I will say, I don't know if we were just lucky or there are a lot of rooms around, because I have heard that single rooms and lodging rooms, you know, people want them, they're in demand. And we did have a huge amount of people apply. Now, I think that is partly because of the decor of the room. I think that really appeals. So if you're thinking of renting a room, just putting in that little bit extra to find some nice things to go in the room will make a difference. Taking some good photos, keeping it light and fresh. So from that, we could then do, I mean, for us, they were more like interviews, and for them, they were viewings. So I'd organise people to come over at certain times and view the property, see us, see the room. And this obviously for us was like a vetting process. We'd be able to see if straight away we got on with them, if we felt like we wanted to welcome them into our home. And to be honest, at this point, you'll know. You'll just know so quickly. It's like when you meet somebody out and about, or you meet a new friend, you're just like, we're gonna get on. I just feel like, yeah, this is going to be a good match. We could also talk through a few logistics, which to be honest was already on the Spare Room website. So we listed it included bills, we listed it with the price, we had parking included. What else did we have included? Well, obviously all of the furniture that you saw in the room, so they didn't need to bring any furniture, but we were open to people who also wanted to bring a bit of furniture. None of our lodgers did want to. And then from there, when we had picked somebody, we obviously had to tell everybody either if we had decided to go with somebody else or if we had gone with them. So the person that we went for, we would then send them a contract. So we use the contract on Spare Room. So they do a template. You can really easily fill it out. It's just got little blanks for you to fill in their information. And then at this stage, this is where we got a reference. We wouldn't have let anybody into our home without having a reference. And this is where this like whole security thing comes from. Now, just saying a little bit with the interviewing process, sorry, I'm talking a lot with my hands, but a lot of people kind of were asking, how did you know? Like, how did you know who to pick? And actually, funny enough, all of our lodgers were very similar, like from similar situations. So they were all moving to our area for a job. And this seemed to really work for us. There was no like, oh, I live down the road, but I've had an argument with my mum and I need somewhere to stay. Like, absolute no. Usually people who are moving to your area because of a job, I feel like they're really good for renting rooms. They're obviously serious about their job, they're relocating, they don't know anybody, they just need a base to get started. So we would always ask them for a reference from their job. So they would send us the email for their manager, we would email their manager, they could tell us, yes, they've got a job, yes, they've got this secure income coming in. They obviously couldn't tell us much about who they were as a person, but we could get references from their previous place that they lived or stayed to. Highly recommend doing that if you're going to get somebody in. It does just give a sense of security. To be honest though, usually by somebody's job, and if they're willing to give out, you know, their manager's details, you're not going to have a bad experience. We actually had, it's funny, I think 2 out of 3 of our lodgers came from London. One of them was an accountant, one of them worked in the NHS, and one of them worked at a local restaurant as a manager, and they were opening up a new chain. So she was coming down here to manage that So that gives you a little bit of a background of who we went for. Sorry, that is the front doorbell buzzing. Be right back. So that's pretty much the process of finding somebody, listing your room and spare room, doing interviews / vetting, picking the person, and then sending them a contract, getting that signed and getting references. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if the camera moved a little bit there, but the next question is the most asked one. How much did they pay for rent? How much did you earn? So we earned $550 to $500 a month. We became a little bit more confident, so we went up slightly. To be honest, we had so much interest in our room, we decided to up it, and that's what we got. Now, leading on from that, a lot of you were asking about the tax implications. So we used, I think it's called the rent a room scheme or something like that, which allows you $7,500 a year tax-free. So it was tax-free. We didn't want to go over that limit, but to be honest, there was a ceiling for the price that we could charge for our room, and it was about perfectly there. So yeah, it was totally tax-free. Obviously you have to declare it. We have an accountant, so they did that for us. We didn't actually do any paperwork, but $7,500 is the amount that we got in a year. Substantial, to be honest, really substantial for being able to get on with the renovations. Did you share a kitchen? And if so, was it awkward? Yes, we shared a kitchen. Obviously, they need to eat, they are human. So they also shared our kitchen. They had a cupboard that was their own for all of their food, a space in the fridge, it was a whole drawer just for them. We didn't touch it, they didn't touch ours. And then they also had a drawer in the freezer. We did communal for everything else. We personally decided that that would be much easier. Obviously we have a dishwasher, we only have a small kitchen. So we decided with all the pots and pans, it was easier that we just shared. We had enough that it was never annoying. We have enough plates and cutlery that was never annoying. Made it easier for them, and it also made it easier for us because we weren't sharing things. And they were all really kind if they broke something, which was next to never, but they just replace it. And for was it awkward? Not totally, no. But was it 100% comfortable? Maybe not always. So it's a bit I'm not quite sure how to explain it, but maybe a family member who you're close to and you feel really comfortable with, but it's not your best friend or your mum or something like that. So we'd obviously chat in the kitchen, we chat about the day, what they were up to, what they were doing at the weekend, just really nice stuff. We'd cook together, perhaps not the same meal, but just cooking at the same time. We might share a glass of wine. Yeah, and a lot of people ask as well whether we had some kind of schedule or anything. No, not at all. To be honest, you'll be surprised at how many lives are so different, working lives, working 9 to 5, people might eat at work. One of our lodgers ate at work all of the time. One of them ate really early. We eat pretty late in comparison, which we've noticed during this. And just the chance that you were there at the same time cooking is actually quite unlikely, or we found it like that anyway. So nothing particularly awkward going on in the kitchen. We were pretty open. I think you have to be quite open to just go into the kitchen and be like, hi, how are you? What are you up to? And we were being fine, being honest. One of our lodgers saw me cry, and I was fine with that. Did they also use the living room or any other rooms, and would they come through the front door? So yes, they came through the front door. They had a key to our front door. They would park outside our house and use the hallway and come right through. They didn't use the living room. That was a private living room for us. But we did actually include the dining room in a room that they could use. They could sit in, they could sit and use the dining table if they wanted to. However, not one of our lodgers did. I think when you have your cozy room and your own space, you just gravitate to it, and yeah, they never did. I mean, I think maybe a few of them went in there every now and then, but very rarely. A lot of people were asking, were we worried about safety? Now we have the Ring doorbell, which we really loved. It meant that we could see who was coming in and out of the house. If there was any random people coming in, never was. By the time that we've got the references, to be honest, we felt pretty safe, and all of the people that we rented to, just immediately you kind of know. I mean, I know you can't say that, but all of them were amazing, and we never had anything go missing, anybody stealing anything or any worries about that. But we also did have a camera in the hallway, an Amazon camera. Some of you guys may remember us putting it up, but that you can see the hallway and also the stairs, so we could see if anybody was going up there, because somebody did also say, did you ever worry about them having a little snoop around the house? Which, to be honest, I didn't, but we did have that there just in case. Another most asked question was, how did you manage the noise? We were, I think, just lucky. I mean, I say so many times about the lodger that we were lucky, but all of our lodgers pretty much went away at the weekends, and that is when we're noisy. Ollie works in an office 9 to 5, so he's away and able to do work anyway. And to be honest, I will say, especially with our first one, we did a few jobs which were pretty bad. We did the front garden. We didn't fully show that online, but I'll put up some pictures. It was so muddy. But I think when you're understanding, like I remember she came home from work and we were still outside in the dark. I think we were doing it in November. What were we doing? I just don't know. But I was like, can I take your bags to like help you through the mud and stuff? So, and she was like, oh, it's fine, don't worry. I think if you're open and kind and, you know, willing to chat to them, and they're usually fine. It's not keeping them up at night. It's not stopping them from doing work. It was just a little bit every now and then, like drilling to put a shelf in. And all of them surprisingly said, sometimes when we were like, oh, sorry if it was a bit noisy, they were like, didn't hear anything. We're very lucky that this room, there's nobody above or below, and next door to is their own private bathroom and hallway in the kitchen, which we're not always making noise in, or barely making noise in. So it's quite a secluded private area, and I think that just worked for us being able to do the work, / them being away a lot of the time. How did you manage the social distancing, etc.? Were you in a bubble together? So we actually, I think one of our lodgers left just before it all happened, and we were literally looking to list our room again, and it all started blowing up, and we were like, what? What should we do? And we actually had, I think we had about a month off, and we used this room a little bit. You guys may remember us being in here a little bit. And then we decided actually it would be really nice if we could rent the room to somebody who needs it. And that's when we rented it to somebody in the NHS. And obviously it was their home, so we were in a bubble with them, just like your housemate or your family. We were in that unit together. And obviously because they were in the NHS, they were thankfully very serious about the whole situation, and didn't have like people over and stuff like that. And then I think I'll end it on worst thing about having a lodger, why are you no longer having one? So we never planned to have one full time. Obviously it is a sacrifice. It's nicer to have the home for yourself. I guess to a certain extent, maybe it's a bit like going to work. Like some days you like it, some days you don't. Sometimes it's irritating, sometimes it's amazing, sometimes you want to chat, sometimes you don't, but it earns you an income. And that's kind of how it was for us. It was just like a day-to-day thing that we did. But we knew that it would never be forever. We definitely knew that we wanted to stop it before having kids. We're not having kids yet, but at that point we always knew it would be a no-no. And we just decided recently that when the most recent lodger was going to leave, we decided that that's when we were going to stop, because we want to press on with the master bedroom, and that's probably going to take up a lot of time and a lot of noise. And you do have to be more careful. My job in the house is a lot harder. I spend all of my time cleaning, I feel, and just tidying up after all of the renovation stuff. Whereas when you're just on your own, you kind of like, oh, well, we'll leave that wood in the hallway, it doesn't matter, or we'll leave that outside and it doesn't matter. Whereas obviously when you have a lodger, you have to be more conscious, and that's the only thing I'd say. It's a bit like having a partner or a family member or a child. Like, you just have to be more conscious, you have to be more aware, perhaps not as noisy, that kind of thing. It's just considering somebody else in your home, and it's been a bit of a nice relief to not have that anymore. However, it really was a positive experience for us. And the worst thing about having one, I think it's just like the conscious thing, just always having to consider somebody maybe not putting the music on or putting the dishwasher on late at night, just in case you're keeping them up. Yeah. And then a lot of people saying, did you ever argue, and did any weird things ever happen? Not one argument. I'm trying to think if there was anything weird. Nothing particularly strange that any of the lodgers did. Oh no, actually, not a lodger, but we listed our room at what, I think this was like maybe the first time that we listed it, and we had one guy who like pestered us. Like, he kept emailing me like, is the room available? I really want it, I really want it. He wasn't local, so we did like a Zoom thing with him, and his mum was there like chipping into the background being like, what's that there? Is that a cat flap? Like she was really over the top. And then cutting a long story short, we didn't end up going for him. And he ended up ringing on our doorbell like when he arrived here. It was really odd. It felt really uncomfortable. And yeah, he was like, he wanted to, it makes me sound weird, but he wanted to be friends. He wanted to go to the pub, and we were a bit overwhelmed by it because we were like, oh, you know, you've got our address details. And we actually didn't give out our address to him, and he found, so anyway. Yeah, it was a bit weird. He didn't like follow me online or anything like that. Like back then I didn't have anywhere near as much following either, so it was just strange. And then weirdly out of the blue, he like called Ollie months later. So yeah, that was the only thing that was kind of strange. I feel bad saying it because it's so difficult to make friends nowadays, and I think maybe sometimes when you see somebody or find somebody who you think would match your personality, you know, you're intrigued, but it was a little bit too forward. He was far too forward, and that was the weirdest thing. But he never actually came into our home. So that was our lodger experience. I hope that gave you a bit more of an insight as to, number one, what it was like to live with a lodger, what it may be like if you guys are interested in it. I guess the thing that you have to take from it is weighing up whether the income is worth the sacrifice. For us, it was, and you know, I think for so many people will be. Actually, I'd be really interested at what price would it be worthwhile for you? Is there like no price that would make you want to rent your room out? Or would you rent it out for a lot less and just be happy for a bit of money? I'm curious to know. I think as well, it depends very much in the stage of your life that you're in. Obviously we were young and we were in a stage where we didn't mind so much. When you have a family, I think you wouldn't want it so much, or, you know, as an older couple. But then definitely when you're single, like if I was single and I was able to have like afford a house, I'd rent a room for sure, like for the company as well as the income. So yeah, obviously, you know, ours was 600. So I'm actually now going to sit down and do something pretty exciting. I've got my watercolours out. I'm going to do some painting, which I was going to say I haven't done in a very long time. I did do a little bit last night. I'll show you this sneakiest peek because it actually gives away our wedding venue, if you can see a little bit there. So yeah, I really need to get on with our invites, and I want a bit of a personal touch or a personal element to them. But I'm going to be honest, I sat down last night and I was like, I've kind of forgotten how to do all of this. So I'm going to be watching a class on the wonderful Skillshare. You guys know I've been working with and absolutely love. It's great for like all different walks of life, from whatever you're interested in. If you don't know who they are, they're the online learning community. They have thousands of classes ranging from everything you could possibly want. So for me, it's right from DIY to interiors to wedding invitations, watercolors, anything you can possibly imagine. And I'm literally going to sit down and watch this class and copy it bit by bit. It's a class by Anna Victoria. It's loose watercolor florals, create beautiful DIY name cards. And she goes through the watercolors that she likes to use, and she does it a bird's eye view, so it just makes it super clear. She goes through lots of different florals and makes it really easy to understand, which I need. And it's just so nice for me to learn, and to be honest, to be really hands-on with the wedding, which I just really love. And also love learning new skills, expanding my knowledge. If you do too, then Skillshare are actually offering an amazing deal right now, where they're offering the first 1,000 of you to click my link below in the description, a free 1 month trial of Skillshare. So you can give it a go, see how you like it, grab a glass of wine, try a little watercolor class or photography, or honestly, whatever you're interested in, they will have a class on it. But it's really great if, like me, you just like being involved and learning new things. So I'm going to give it a go. I could be putting a little bit too much on my plate. I'm literally looking at them now. The other thing that I might do is there was another class on there actually, where they take an image and they make it on Photoshop into a little bit more of like a watery colour design, and then I might print that off and kind of like paint over it, like paint in numbers to make it look more painterly. I'm not sure. That's kind of like more my textile side coming out and wondering how I can make this work without putting too much work on my plate, but I do enjoy it. I have to admit, I do enjoy it. And we've actually got something really exciting going on with the wedding next week. I'm probably going to be doing a little announcement or sneak peek on Instagram for anybody that's interested. So if you want to know before I update on YouTube, you'll have to head over there, because I'm going to be doing it a little bit more in real time, and then I'll update all of you guys the following week, obviously. But yeah, super exciting. Though also, I mean, I don't know whether to mention this or not, but I got an email back from this photographer this morning, but I did hopefully, fingers crossed, have sorted the photography. But weddings are so overwhelming. So many people say, oh, just like look online, try and find a photographer and email them. The first email back that I got from a photographer, their first package started at 35,000 euros. 35,000. I literally felt, you know what? I felt so embarrassed. I felt so embarrassed because I had no idea that photography could even cost that much. Like, I thought the budget that we had for it was pretty healthy, and let me tell you, it is nowhere near, like nowhere near that. And I was so shocked. I called my mum, and then I actually ended up, my brother's girlfriend called me. I can't remember, I think she called me or texted me or something, and I was just like, I'm like humiliated, like this. And I shouldn't be, because it is a ridiculous, like not ridiculous, I mean, I know some people can charge that, but it's a lot for a wedding. So yeah, just know that I've got all of that going on in the background. And we've also decided, which I will talk more about at another time, that we're not going to have a wedding planner, which I'm not sure we really need, because it's only a really intimate wedding. But everybody says get a wedding planner to at least help you out a little bit, or on the day. So yeah, we're doing everything. I'm sure it's possible, we can do it. And to be honest, I know that I'd want to do all the research anyway. It's that kind of thing where I know I'd want to be involved. Not that I'm a control freak. Some people may argue otherwise. But I think I'm going to round this video off here, because I am literally going to get my paints out now and give that a go. And unfortunately, I can't show you that. So I will see you guys next week, where I think we're going to get all autumny and cozy, because we'll be coming up. I mean, where is September going? I don't even know, but we'll be coming up to the end of September, which is crazy. Anyway, I will see you then. Hope you're well and have a lovely weekend.